Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I'm taking a couple of weeks off at the moment, but this came by my shop and I couldn't resist to take it for a spin. Not only is this a very interesting car, it is known to be the worst car in the world. It's also on a very interesting journey from Slovenia and all the way to Iceland. You probably wonder why it's going on this trip, and that is because if you want a good life, you need to lower your expectations and do something silly, because this is what memories are made of. Apart from being an epic journey, this is also a charity. Blas, the owner of this car, is paying for all the expenses for the trip, but it's possible to donate to this trip and the money goes straight to helping out cats in Slovenia. And who doesn't like cats? Go and check out the Instagram and this to learn more and donate, and also make some challenges for Blas, because currently the journey is going way too easily, I think. Woohoo! So I have been wanting to do a review on a Yugo for a long time, because it is, as mentioned, known in the car world as the worst car in the world. It's a very unfair judgment, but it's not completely off either, because it is, it's built a little bit funky. But driving this is not gonna reflect the actual experience of driving a Yugo very much, because it is modified quite a bit, but that's actually not the main thing that makes this different than the normal feeling. The thing is that this car is packed with so much stuff, it's unbelievable. And it's it got accommodations. It got accommodations for 2 persons. It got food for a couple of weeks. It got an insane amount of spare parts. And the interior is not stock either. It's Cinquecento seats, I think. And many different alterations has been made to make this the perfect bad car for a road trip. I especially completely love the steering wheel. It's insanely nice. Apart from that, it's a Yugo below all this, and then some added on features for charging up the phone and keeping a track on when the engine is going to explode. Funny story about that. The first time I met Blas in this Yugo was in 23, when he went from Slovenia to Nordkap. Prior to arriving at my place, he changed the engine in Stuttgart in Germany because the old one crapped out. He found some engine someplace and put it in. It turned out to be an oil burner. I think he ended up using 19 liters or something like that on oil on the trip. Lapped in the valves in Sweden using charcoal, I think it was. I doubt he's going to have any big issues on this trip, because everything seems so fixed up. But he's also very prepared for quite massive repairs. He told me that pretty much the only thing he didn't bring was a new clutch, because it's brand new. Well, then I could see the fear in his eyes when he realized he doesn't have a spare clutch. Oh, Seaside Garage. And even the engine bay is packed with the spare parts. What do we have here? Wires, distributor. That's an oil pump. So it's ready for some serious repairs. The engine is, as far as I know, the 965 overhead cam valve Fiat engine, also found in the Fiat Panda. That's mine. And also much the same engine as in my A112 Abarth. So it's a well-known engine note when it runs. It's not the old engine from the Nordkap adventure. I can tell you that for sure. This has been rebuilt and is in very good condition. And pink, because you can. It's been fitted with an electronic fuel pump and a cutoff switch, oil catch tank, and improved coolant. Is probably a good idea as well. And coupled together with a 5-speed box with a lot of washers on the cable. So pretty far from a standard Yugo.
And the back of the Yugo is packed to the brink with stuff, food and all that. And if you look really closely, you will find engine parts, body parts all over the place, like down here. You just barely see the top of a cylinder head with the rockers and the valves and all that. And over in this corner, In the shade you will see a headlight assembly. And Blas quickly realized that all the stuff couldn't fit inside the Yugo. So he fitted a roof rack, so it could fit a small Lego box by the way, and also a roof box for more stuff.
The day before the journey started, Blas told me that the rear end was too low. It wasn't possible to drive. So he had to add another spring, another leaf spring to the rear to get the rear end to be high enough. And now the height is just fine. There is plenty of clearance. But the weight in this car makes it feel so insanely planted. The feeling in the car is more like a big old Benz than a Yugo, that's for sure. It's really floating, but firmly. So yeah, surprisingly road holding for a Yugo, and not at all how it's supposed to feel without all this weight. So it's not going to reflect the experience of driving a Yugo very much, apart from the engine power, which is of course being pushed to the limit currently. That being said, Blas did measurements of the fuel economy, fuel usage on the roads in Slovenia going to Denmark, and so far it's doing 20 kilometers on a liter, which is very impressive for such an old car with so much weight in it. Of course, it's constant speed for a long time. I don't think the speeds are exceeding 90 kilometers per hour, probably even a little lower than that. It's just cruising, letting the engine stay where it likes to be, and then just puddling along. But still, I find that quite impressive. It's an old car. It's a carb engine. It's an overhead valve engine. But it just works. It's nice. I'm quite envious about these things that Blas is doing with this Yugo, these road trips. It's just so exciting. I ought to do that kind of things. Just the idea and the thought of driving this from Slovenia to Denmark is not a big deal. Oh, we need fourth gear now. We need third gear now. But not only to Denmark, but continuing on to the ferry and then sailing to Iceland to drive around for a couple of weeks on Iceland. And this one is just so much fun. Who knows if it's going to be the first Yugo on Iceland? Probably not, but it's definitely not. It's got to be a rare sight up there. And to make it even more weird, Blas is going at the same time as my local Citroen 2CV club, was also going to Iceland to drive 2 CVs around Iceland. Why I'm not a part of that journey, I don't know. I really have to do stuff like that very soon, because it just sounds like so much fun. On top of all this icing, Blas is paying for this entire trip himself. He fixed the car up himself. All that is out of his own pocket, but he's also trying to collect money for a charity in Slovenia that are trying to help out cats and making sure that the stray cats are doing all right and nurture them and so on. A very, very noble thing. And if you want, you can follow the journey and you can donate to the cat home. I'm doing my best to edit this video and get it out probably today when I film it, or at least tomorrow. And that means that this car is not even on Iceland if you watch this video as one of the first guys, because this will go on the ferry Tuesday, the 28th of July. So it's very much happening real time, and that's very exciting. It's very fun to be inside this cabin because so much stuff is known in my own experience because of my Abarth, the A112, and also the Fiat Pandas that I have owned. And the Sook actually also, because the stalks are the same as the Sook. So much of this stuff are shared in between. And the Yugo, the frame itself, the chassis, is very similar to the Abarth. Everything is just slightly altered in size, but it looks exactly the same. I am currently thinking about just locking Blas inside my basement and then just doing the trip on his behalf for the rest of the time, because it's gonna be awesome to drive this around on Iceland. I really like the motto of this trip, and probably just the life of Blas. Lower your expectations. It might sound a little unpleasant, but actually it isn't. You will get a lot more happiness by doing that. I think it's a bit of a more fun way of saying don't worry, be happy. And also doing road trips and stuff like this, it's the unexpected things that is going to be the most interesting encounters, that's for sure. If the engine blows up, you will have to find another engine in a place you don't know. You will have to meet some people who will probably help you out. It's gonna be an interesting thing, but it could probably also be a tough experience if your expectations are too high. So lower your expectations and see you in the next one.